Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This video is recorded from a normal game. This is a game that I am doing alongside with Willow. The name is Daro Arkin, but it goes by Willow outside of the League client. And we were queued up together on the first day that this most recent patch of Teamfight Tactics was released, just to test out some of the new features. This was a relatively minor patch, not a huge amount of changes. We're getting closer to the end of set 4.5 as I record this, and I believe that this patch is the one that's going to be used when they do the World Championships for Teamfight Tactics. It's either this one or the one that follows it. The previous patch was used for the regionals, for the North American regionals and the European regionals, and I believe that this patch is the one that's going to be used for the World when they do that in a short time from when I'm recording this video. Okay, so in this patch, not a ton of changes took place. As I said, relatively minor. Some things that took place. Tristana 3-star was nerfed to a good degree because it was pretty clearly, Trist was pretty clearly the best 1-star champion, and she got knocked down a bit. And they also increased the strength of a couple other things. They increased the strength of Katarina. They increased the strength of one of the units we're going to be looking at in this video, which was Talon, because he was kind of not in a great shape and wanted to make him more playable. And in this game, we're going to be taking a look at that champion just due to how this game played out. This was the second of 2 games that Willow and I did. In this one, I was looking to try to find something here early on. I was offered the chance to play an Assassin Diana, and I did think about that for quite some time, but ultimately decided that I didn't want to play that unit. I don't think that it's a bad unit by any means, but it wasn't something that I was interested in. Didn't feel super comfortable with that unit. Didn't want to play like Diana Reroll, which was popular earlier in the set, and just ended up getting these Divine units, this Wukong and this Nasus, and I was like, all right, well, let's just use what we've got here, see what Chosens pop up later on. I'll grab the Janna here and pre-level so that I'll hit level 4 next time and hopefully get some kind of a champion that, or some kind of a Chosen offer that looks more interesting than that Diana Assassin Chosen, which is not a bad Chosen by any means. But just wanted to test out something different here and see what we get. So early on in this game, I'm going to have to be kind of scrambling a little bit, working off of units and working off of a lack of a Chosen that I kind of want. Okay, so here is going to be the basis of my early game team composition. I got this early 2-star Wukong, and I'm going to run the Wukong as my early game carry. So one thing I can do is I can use the belt and the sword to make a Zeke's, and I'm going to make that because I don't really have a clear direction to my team composition right now. The Zeke's can be used in almost any team composition well, and so I figure I'll make the aura item that can be used pretty well later on for, as I said, just about any team composition, and look to play from there. I don't really have that much. I don't have a Chosen right now, and that means my team comp is going to be weaker than it could be because I, don't have that 2-star champion with the bonus stats. And in fact, the only 2-star champion that I have is this Wukong, who has a Zeke's, which is an aura item and not really an item that you carry through, at least not early on. So this fight ends up being pretty close, especially with the Guardian Angel on the Darius on the other side. So Darius is going to get all 2 dunks. It's like, can Janna finish this off? Go on, Janna, come on, hey. And she actually does manage to get the kill, somewhat surprisingly. So I am able to win that. Okay, so here I get offered another Chosen, and this is a quite popular Chosen right now. It's a Keeper Elise, which is, not bad at all. It allows you to try to play one of the Keeper comps and play into Cultist, which is very popular. In fact, that first person that we looked at there, Reckless Faith, had a Chosen Cultist, or Chosen Keeper Elise. And as I said, this is just quite popular right now, playing through like 4 keepers, playing through maybe going up to 6 keepers. It's a very consistent team, but ultimately I decided I didn't want to try to play that either. I was just looking for something else. This being a normal game, more open to trying different things, experimenting with different team compositions, and it just wasn't something that I was looking for in this particular game. Now, maybe I should have taken that because you're seeing me going up against a Keeper Elise in this match, and you're seeing how easily the other team is beating my team composition. I end up losing, and it's not even remotely close. We were probably lucky to kill 1 unit there. And so those are the 2 early Chosens. I passed on both of them, and that means that my comp's going to be weaker than it could be for the foreseeable future. Anyway, so I'm looking at different options here, and I decided I would go ahead and play the Braum over the Nasus while still holding the two Nasuses. This means that my front line is tankier, but it also means that I lose the Divine trait, which means I do a little bit less damage. Now, I don't know if that was ideal overall. It was the way what I decided to try out because I think in part because in that last round, my team comp got flattened so quickly by the Cultist Elise setup. I decided I'd try this instead and see how it works. So basically, I traded more attack damage for tankiness. We are up against Willow's comp here, and he has gone into an early cultist setup. He's got the TF. I believe he has a cultist TF. Yeah, because he's got cultist in with only the TF and the Vlad. So cultist TF, that's a nice starting unit. Allows you to play into cultist, and that was the goal here. So we are going to be able to kill the Galio, but don't get the kill on much else in that fight. And so it probably would have been better to lose the first round in retrospect because it only would have done 2 more damage and I would have been better off in terms of economy. But in any case, I go ahead and once again, without any clear direction for my team comp, I'm going to pick up an item that has generic usefulness, that being turning my Brawler's Glove that's sitting on the bench into a Hand of Justice. As I said, just a generically useful item. I'll slap it on Wukong because he's kind of carrying the damage load right now. It's not a great item on Wukong, but he can use it decently. And again, we're just looking to try to find some direction for our team composition here. Something that's going to tell me here's the way we're going to try to play this. Now, I could try to play into like Kale later on. This is not a bad setup for a Kale comp. Brawler's, Zeke's are good on Kale later on. And the Zeke's is good, and the Hand of Justice is not bad either. So once again, I'm gonna level to 5 here, still hoping to find a higher cost chosen, something that's maybe like a 2 cost chosen. I believe I have like 5% odds to find a 3 cost chosen. Yeah, just hoping to find something stronger. The Brawler Tom Kench is again tempting, but ultimately, I pass on that as well, being very selective. And this video is a good example of why you probably shouldn't be that selective, because in case you haven't noticed, I haven't been doing especially well in these recent fights. This time we're up against someone who's running, running Akali and then some Brawlers for frontline and then 2 Jannas for support. Now, the one weakness of that team composition is there's no damage whatsoever aside from the Janna. It's literally, or not the Janna, aside from the Akali. There's no damage at all. So if we can kill the Akali, which we managed to do, fortunately, then the rest of the team composition falls apart, and we are able to win that one. So that's kind of nice. But again, I still don't feel like what I have is really that great here. And this is a round with no chosen again. I mean, decent options here. You know, there's a lot of different things I could play through, but I'm still kind of in this Divine plus Enlightened plus Vanguard team composition with a bunch of 1-star units. So here I was like, oh, maybe I can put in Duelist or Callista. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. If I take out the Fiora, then I lose Duelist. That said, I probably still should have taken out something else, maybe take out the Nasus and then play the Callista, because right now my comp's reasonably tanky, but it's lacking in damage. So I think the better play there would have been take out Nasus and put in the Callista, because I kind of had enough frontline, and that Zeke's would be pretty good on Callista. So here we have another team composition, pretty straightforward. Sharpshooters in the back, Brawlers up in front. And in order to win this fight, I have to cut through the Brawlers, but I just am not able to do that. I'm kind of lacking in the damage. So can we manage to kill this Maokai to take slightly less damage? Come on, Braum. Get in that last punch. There we go. So yeah, I do lose this round, but it's better to take 4 damage than 6 or 8 damage. All right, here finally I get another chosen, and this is one I was actually looking for, which was Enlightened Fiora. I was like, okay. Let's try to play an Enlightened team composition here. I have not featured an Enlightened team comp because I haven't really played this team composition very often. So Enlightened, you can see me highlighting the trait. Enlightened champions generate more mana. Enlightened 2 is 50% increase. Enlightened 4 is 100% increase. And Enlightened 6 is 150% increase. The only way to get to Enlightened 6 is to have an Enlightened chosen and play all of the Enlightened units. Otherwise, you can't hit that amount. And then here we're going to find another Janna, which is nice, and I will sell to get the 30 gold. And we get another Brawler's Glove, and we get a piece of armor here, a chain vest. So we're going to look to play through Enlightened. What Enlightened wants to do is play through 2 primary carry units, as I put the glove onto Wukong. In retrospect, this is going to be a mistake, as we'll see, because having that glove on Wukong prevents me from putting another item on him. I should have held off on that, but anyway. So as I said, Enlightened wants to play through 2 units. The big carries are Morgana and Talon, depending on what items you hit. Generally, Morgana is seen as the featured unit. Talon was kind of the popular unit to play through in set 4, not set 4.5, because his abilities worked a little bit differently there. And Talon's a little bit trickier to play through in set 4.5 because he's just not very reliable in terms of how his ultimate works. But, those are the 2 primary carry units. Morgana does magic damage, Talon does physical damage, and if you're lucky, you will try to get Morgana, pair her with at least 1 Siphoner so that there is lifesteal off of the various abilities. There I was trying to sell the Fiora to get to 40 gold, but I wasn't quite fast enough. And we were able to win that round, which was nice. Just having another 2-star unit here is pretty handy. Fiora is not a great frontliner, but she's decent if she can get off her riposte, her parry, and then her riposte. She can frontline to an okay degree. And, I mean, we're looking all right here. Willow is win streaking nicely off of his early cultists, which cultists are strong in the early game. The big issue with cultists is they tend to get weak in the late game. It's a composition that often needs to be transitioned out of. Unfortunately for Willow, there's another person playing cultists, and I believe that's this person, Reckless Faith, who I think already has the 6 cultists in there right now. So this fight, never mind, only just has the 3 cultists. So this fight looks good right up until Galio comes in and starts murdering the rest of my team, because Wukong's kind of my only damage right now. And if we could just get on the Sivir and the Nidalee, we could win this fight, but we're getting stuck on the Elise for a long period of time. She's doing a nice job of tanking there, life-stealing that back. And in particular, once the Fiora goes down, I mean, Braum cannot outdamage Elise's lifesteal, so we get stuck on the tanks there, can't get to the back line. That's a little bit sad. Aha! Now here I find something I'm looking for. I find an early Morgana in the shop at 2% odds. So that's really nice to see because, as I said, Morgana is one of the keys to this team composition. It allows us to go up to Enlightened 4, which means the 3 Enlightened champs, which are the Fiora, Chosen, the Morgana, and the Janna. Each of them will get 100% mana increase. So they'll get more mana when they attack, and they'll get more mana as they take damage. So they'll be able to use their abilities more frequently. But in particular, Morgana is even better because she also makes the Siphoner trait with that Nasus that's in there right now. And that means that everyone will get at least a little bit of lifesteal and spell vamp. And the Siphoner champs, Morgana and Nasus, will get significantly more. So that's exactly what we want to see. This team is nicely bunched up for Morgana's pool. They're actually taking a lot of damage on all those Morgana ticks, but unfortunately we don't have like a Morello Namicon, which is like the big item you want to put. Yeah, Morgana does the most damage in that fight, even with no items and as a 1-cost unit. So Morgana does the most in that fight for us, but ultimately still not enough because we didn't have... if we had a Morello's on her, we probably would have won that fight with all the ticking burn effect. There's another Morgana on the carousel. I'm going to take it, but the reason why I want Morgana is not actually for the unit, as nice as it might be. It's because I want to make a GA. I want to make a Guardian Angel from this leftover chain vest that I have sitting on my bench. But now here's where I get bitten in the rear end for putting that Brawler's Glove on the Wukong. I can't put Guardian Angel on the Wukong because he already has all his item slots full. I want the Guardian Angel for a future Talon because that's what I'll be playing into. I'll be looking for Talon later on, but I can't make that item not on the Wukong at least, and it's an item I really want to make. So I'm going to go ahead, and now I've got another Brawler's Glove and a needlessly large rod from this lantern that we picked up, that everybody has picked up. So I was like, how can I do this? I want to make use of these items. I don't want to just have them sit on my bench. I was like, where can I put this? Fiora's not coming out of the comp. Nasus is probably staying in for Siphoner. Morgana, I don't want the Guardian Angel on her. I'm not going to want to sell her. We're clearly not going to get an item remover because we just got the Lucky Lantern. And there was no item remover in it. So what can I do? Well, I can put the Guardian Angel on Braum, unfortunately. He is a terrible user of this item, but I want to get this item in use somewhere so that I'm actually getting some kind of value out of this. It really would be much better on the Wukong because Wukong scales very well with attack damage, but I can't get it on him. Unfortunately, I put that glove on him earlier. Was a mistake, as I said. I was actually thinking of making a... I was thinking initially of making a Infinity Edge with that glove, which I could do here, but I valued making the Guardian Angel over I value getting an Infinity Edge. And so unfortunately, don't have the itemization quite where I want it. What I really need to do is find Talon. So I'm going to look to go to level 7. I'm planning on using my Lantern at level 7 to try to find Talon, and then rolling down from there and going with that. So we're going to look for Talon because we've got some AD items here. Again, Wukong is basically holding items for Talon. That's pretty common if you're playing in an Enlightened team composition. You're generally going to play Divine early because you're going to have Nasus in the team comp. And Wukong is a very good item holder for Talon because Wukong scales really well off of attack damage due to the way his ult works. His Wukong's ult does like 220% damage based on his attack damage. So getting AD items is good on him. And look, this person already has an early Talon. Why can't I find the early Talon? Well, it looks like we're going to be able to handle this comp. I remember doing well against that comp the last time I saw it as well. So it seems like that's just a good matchup for us. All right, but now we've made it through stage 2 and stage 3. I'm still relatively low on health. I would much prefer to be at like 70-ish health as opposed to 60-ish. Does make a big difference. And here I don't really have another unit to put in, so I think I toss in another Janna. But I want to be level 7 so that I can start to have better odds to find the 4-cost units. And as I said, my plan is to use the loaded dice here. I'll have good odds to find Talon if I drop this at level 7. And the unit I want to use this on is Morgana because she's Enlightened Siphoner. That means she can roll either Enlightened units or Siphoner units. And it's better to use it on her because there aren't a lot of Siphoner units in this game. Now, here's another Enlightened unit, the Aurelia. So we're going to take Janna out, put Aurelia in. That's useful. And then I'm going to sell the Braum, and now I'm going to look and say, give me Talon. I was like, oh, well, I don't get Talon. I do get a lot of useful stuff, though. Literally everything in that shop was good for me. We get another Aurelia. We get some extra Jannas. We get some extra Fioras. The only problem is I didn't find Talon, and I was like, oh, okay, what can I do here? Well, I've already got the items I kind of want for Talon. I've got Guardian Angel. I've got 2 swords for a Deathblade, and then I can pair the bow with the gauntlet there, and I can put a Last Whisper on him as well, all of which will be useful items on Talon. I won't have an Infinity Edge, but I'll have really good stuff outside of an Infinity Edge. The only problem is I need to have a Talon so I can put those items on Talon. And unfortunately, I don't have that, and I take a big loss there because look at all the items sitting on my bench. There's so much power that I'm missing in my team composition because I have all these items on my bench. So I just have to start rolling. That's the only thing I can do here. All right, we do have 6 Jannas, which is awful nice. And there's a Fiora there, so that's 7 Fioras. So, I mean, we're getting closer to, 3-starring some of these units. Also the chance to put in Yuumi if I want a Mystic option here. But then I find Shen, and I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to play this for Mystic. I don't need Nasus anymore because I found that early Swain at 1% odds, and I can play that for Siphoner. So I don't need the Nasus anymore. I also have Divine from Aurelia. But, again, look at my items. I don't have anyone to put these items on because all these people, every unit in there is going to stay in the team comp, so I can't just toss disposable items on someone. I probably should have just grabbed a unit that I was not planning on playing. I could just grab the Kindred and toss it in there and put these items on Kindred, do something like that. But I'm stuck with all the Talon items that I want, but no actual Talon to put them on, and no disposable unit to put these units on. Fortunately, I hit someone else who's got 6 items on their bench that they're not using. So the only thing I can do here is just look to keep rolling. And it's I just desperately need to find a Talon here in order to make this team composition work. I just need one. I can play through 1-star Talon for the moment and look for more later on. And just this unit will not show up. Also could have grabbed a Kali and played a Kali temporarily as well. Because, and look at this, by the way, I'm up to 7 Jannas now, but still no Talon. I was like, where is Talon? I'm melting down my entire economy. 8 Jannas now, but no Talon. I was like, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible bad luck to roll all this gold. I've rolled, about 40 gold and found 0 Talons? And he's not being played by anyone else. This is an uncontested team comp. No one else is playing Enlightened. Anyway, I'm up against Willow here. He is still playing through Cultist. He's gone up to Cultist 6 right now. He's managed to get in an Aurelian Soul to make the Mage trait along with his TF. I think he has an Annie in there as well. But we are going to cut through the front line, and then do we have enough to get his Twisted Fate? Oh, it's going to be close, but thanks to Swain and thanks to having all that Siphoner lifesteal, look, turns out we have just enough. I mean, imagine how strong my comp would be if I was actually using all my items. I have like three completed items sitting on the bench that I'm not using here, which is really sad. Now, I was hoping that there would be a Talon here on this carousel, but there wasn't. And since there's no Talon here, I was thinking I'll go ahead and take this Swain then. That was my plan. Just grab the Swain and get closer to Swain 2-star. But then the Swain gets taken as well, and I was like, what do I do with these units? I didn't have any great user of these items, so I was like, I guess I'll take the spatula? Maybe I can do something with the spatula. As it turns out, there is a good way to use this spatula. I can take one of these brawler's gloves I have sitting around and use it to make an assassin spatula, and then that'll get assassin trait in when I find Talon. One of the weaknesses of Talon is there tends not to be another good assassin unit that you want to play in this comp. So I'll make the assassin spat. We do find Shen 2-star. And like I found a lot of stuff here in the shop. Only need one more Janna, only need 2 more Fioras. And there we go, finally. I had to roll so much gold though. So now we're gonna look to make these items. I'll turn Aurelia into the other assassin. She's a decent user of it. We'll move that Hand of Justice to Swain. We're gonna make a Deathblade on Talon. I'm gonna put the Last Whisper on him. Additional crit chance, additional ability to cut through his armor. So it's a pretty good item on him. I certainly didn't have anyone else that could use Last Whisper. And now now we have a leftover Zeke's that we can put on someone else. So now we've got Talon in the mix, and now our comp definitely gets much stronger because we do have these items that we want to be using. Up against a Samira team composition here, but Talon does get his ult off. So if we can just came up a little bit short there. Without the GA on the Samira, we probably win that fight, but came up a little bit short there. And unfortunately, I'm not in great shape right now, largely because I had to roll so much. If I'd been able to find Talon right away, number one, I probably wouldn't have taken quite so much damage. And I guess I only lost one other fight in this round, somewhat shockingly. But I could have avoided taking some of that damage. And I wouldn't have had to melt my entire economy down by rolling, all that money. I had to roll so much gold here. In the meantime, though, I now need to get this Zeke's in play, and I'm trying to think what the best way to do that is. And ultimately, I decide, you know what? Let's go ahead and put this on the. I go ahead and put this on the Swain up there in the front line. I don't know if that was ideal. What I could have done is maybe put this on the Janna in the back lines, and then had my 2 assassins stand next to it. I don't know if this was ideal for Swain because it means that it occupies an item slot that Swain can't use to hold another item. But by the same token, I figured, the Zeke's does provide additional health on Swain just to keep him alive a little bit longer. So maybe it's not the worst. And here there is a Kalista with a tremendous amount of attack speed. If we could ever actually get someone on the Kalista, we can win this. But unfortunately, the only one left is Janna, and Janna's not going to be able to kill this Kalista who has an insane amount of attack speed. But that's at least not a bad loss. The only problem is, look at our economy. We have, 16 gold in the bank, and we're at 34 health at the end of stage 4. That's really, really bad. Really bad. So I'm in a terrible place economically, and that means this is just a scramble game at this point. We're just trying to avoid a 6th or 7th place finish. One person's already out of this game, but the goal is just to, try to finagle like a 3rd or 4th place finish out of this game from being in a position that's not very good at all. Now, there is another Fiora in the shop. Let's see if I remember to spot that I'm grabbing, pushing towards 3-star Fiora. Hopefully, I will be able to pick that up. Yeah, there we go. I do spot that. Well, anyway, while we have a minion round here, let's just go over Talon's ability and how it works, since we're kind of in between rounds right now. I'm going to highlight the official description that I've got here on another monitor. So Talon, how his ability works: Talon stabs his target, strikes them for a % of his attack damage plus bonus physical damage. If it kills them, Talon becomes unstoppable and untargetable while he leaps to the enemy with the lowest armor. So basically, when Talon's mana bar fills up, he jumps to the enemy with the lowest armor, and if it kills them, he gets a reset and jumps to the target that next has the lowest armor after that. Here I'm rolling. I was trying to find Talon 2-star, trying to find Morgana 2-star. I did hit the Fiora 3-star, which is nice. And in retrospect, it would have been great if I'd managed to get like a locket on the Fiora. But I do make the Fiora 3-star relatively late. And again, the big problem is I have 1-star Talon and I have 1-star Morgana. And those are my carries. Talon has very good items, but if he's only a 1-star unit, it's going to limit how much damage he can do. Fortunately, Morgana is kind of on the case. I went ahead and made the Jeweled Gauntlet on her. It's not my preferred item. I would like to get a Morello's, but from this point forward, there's not going to be any more components. It's going to be all finished items. So it was make that or nothing. I am hoping I can get the 3-star Janna. I've got 8 Jannas here. Just need one more. Unfortunately, a whole bunch of other people went to level 8, and one person, Dogleg TFT, you might have seen, went to level 9. I was like, oh, going to level 9? How did someone get to level 9 that fast? I was like, well, at least that person has like no health buff. They're only on 19 HP, so that's a good sign. But then look at that. What the? 2-star Samira? What? How does someone have 2-star Samira on stage 5 too? And that person's actually going to put a Warlord's banner on their Samira. Yeah, I was like, what? That went by pretty fast, and unfortunately there's no replay, so I can't go back and highlight their board. But that person has 2-star Samira, and they have a Guardian Angel, and they have a Last Whisper, and a Warlord's banner for Warlords 6 in that team comp. It was like, what? So at this point, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I think that person's probably going to win the lobby because they have 2-star Samira with like basically perfect items at the beginning of stage 5. That's totally crazy. How does that happen? How does someone have 2-star Samira this early? All I can imagine is somehow they went to 9 and just hit, like, they evidently hit double Samira and then used a Nico's help to get the 2-star Samira. So they, like, instantly got 3 Samiras the instant they hit level 9. Like, WTF, how does that happen? So, yeah, okay, not beating that comp. Nope, not going to beat that comp. And they didn't even use their Lucky Lantern, so seriously. Just a ridiculous high roll. Oh, I see. And now they've got a Yone Chosen that they just tossed in at level 9. Okay. So, well, okay. As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, not going to win this lobby. Let's just go on and hope that we can maybe try to get a top 2 or top 3 or something, because remember, my economy is still in pretty horrible shape here. I am at least going to pop the Samira on that other team, and then Talon pops the Zed. Again, when his mana bar fills up, he will use his ult, and if he kills the target, he'll then jump to another target. The good news is here, there's no damage left. There's a Yuumi that's great at healing, but we've got that Last Whisper for the armor shred, and Talon's going to pop that person. And as it turns out, that's someone who's in worse shape than I am, because they have less health and they have no money whatsoever. Here on this carousel, I was hoping that there would be like a Talon, so I could make Talon 2-star, but there is no Talon. There's a Morgana, but she has an item I definitely don't want on Morgana. That item is not going to be helpful for me whatsoever. The little Rift minion is not going to be useful. So I'll go ahead and take a Morgana item. I just take the Death Cap here to pair with the Jeweled Gauntlet. I would prefer the Morello's, but there is no Morello's available, so do the best I can. Morello's is really the key item on Morgana, and it's a bit of a shame I wasn't able to make it in this game, but as it turned out, I mostly got swords and gloves in this game, which is why I've more been playing through Talon. I just haven't really gotten a lot of items that play through Morgana. All right, so now we need to roll, and boom, there we go. That's what we were looking for. We do manage to find the 2-star Talon. I go to 8. I don't have much money to roll here because I'm so poor. I only have like 20 gold to roll. So I'll toss in Kale for the moment. She does put Divine in play for Aurelia. And I find another Morgana. I find another Kale. I was like, all right, well, you know, Kale, she's a unit that you can play in an Enlightened team competition. She's usually not the focus of this. Definitely not the focus of the comp, because she doesn't get any bonus mana from the Enlightened trait. But, you know, she does put Divine in play, and she can add a little bit of extra damage. I will use her. I mean, I found 2 Kales instantly, so not the worst. Here we're up against a Cultist 9 player. I can't see which one it is. I believe it's the person that Willow has been competing with for units, that they're both playing Cultist. And this person's managed to make the Cultist 9. So the problem is that Galio has a ton of health. Yep, he's going to get the big attack off on Talon. We're not quite able to kill that unit, although we did get close. And really, the whole lobby is getting pretty low at this point. So at this point, it's kind of like the put up or shut up moment. Either you're going to find something or you're not. And here I find a better unit. I find the Yone, and that's definitely better to play than the Kale, because that will make Adept 3. We'll get that attack speed slow on other teams. I can now sell the Jax as well, because he's not going to be needed. So we lose Divine, but Yone is going to be much more helpful for the team. Also, his shred of armor and magic resistance will be very useful, both for everyone really, but it will be nice for Talon, so that it's easier for him to get resets on the enemy team if he's not having to cut through their armor. So here we're up against a Keeper team composition. This one, Reckless Faith. We want to get on the carries. That's the Kindred and the Zaya in the backlines. I believe that's a Zaya with all those Hands of Justices, the triple Hand of Justice. Obviously, Kennen also does a lot of damage as well, but Talon's in the backlines. He manages to dodge the Kennen ult for the most part, and then we get the little pop there. So Talon doing a pretty good job of carrying. Talon did get buffs in this patch, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, just caused his attack to do a little bit more damage, making it a little bit easier to get resets. And aside from us sitting with, not having the Morgana 2-star, we're in decent shape right now. I'm one of the higher people on health. And the good news is it looks like that comp, that the team that I just hit the 3-star Kennen on the round after I hit them, which is always nice to see because it'll be a little while until I see that comp. I have not seen Dog-like TFT in this stage either, which is great. I just have had the good luck not to hit this comp because the minute I hit that comp, I'm going to take a 15 damage loss. So just really hoping that the RNG of how these fights play out is I'm not going to hit the one comp that's like basically invincible in comparison to the rest of us. I would like to try to hit the 2-star Janna, or 3-star Janna. I'm only one away. It's a higher priority to try to hit the 2-star Morgana, and I do get a Swain here, so that's nice. So I'm like, show me Janna or Morgana or Swain, any of them. Those are the 3 units I'm looking for. And I do get the Morgana here. I was like, oh, do I lock for this? Do I sell a Janna? Is it important enough? And I was like, yeah, I think it's important enough because, again, there's not a lot of rounds left in this game. We're on stage 6. I think it's important enough to have the 2-star Morg to pick that up. That does mean it's going to be harder to get 3-star Janna. But I thought it was important enough that I have the Morgana just because she will do so much damage, especially against a comp like this. This is Willow's comp. Willow has made it to level 9. It looks like he has managed to get the 9 cultists in there. But like the Morgana does so much damage against a clumped up team composition like that. And the TF just doesn't really carry hard enough at this stage of the game. Even though TF does have good items. I mean, look at Morg. She does a tremendous amount of damage in that fight. Basically equals Talon. It's just being produced in little ticks over time. Now, of course, Dog-like TFT has not lost a round since hitting the 2-star Samira. Now is a 2-star Set and a 2-star Lee Sin. I mean, seriously, dude, what kind of a high roll is this? This is just nutty. Has the Yone chosen 2-star Lee Sin with blue buff and 2-star 2-star Set to go along with the Warlord 2-star Warlord Samira. It's like, okay, buddy. And now 2-star Azir as well. It's like, what? What is this team comp? So now I finally hit this comp. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I was actually positioning for this comp because I was expecting to hit it. I was trying to have Talon jump on the Samira. Instead, he jumped on a Sand Soldier. So maybe not quite as good of a target. But he does manage to get the Azir. And we do pop the Guardian Angel on the Samira. Unfortunately, though, there's just too much in this team competition. There's no way we're going to be able to get everything on there. Too many legendary units. I have no chance to beat this team comp. So, yeah. The good news is I did manage to get top 4. Unfortunately, Willow got knocked out there in 5th place, which is, like I said, sorry to see that. And there's another Morgana, but no additional Jannas, no additional Swain. So again, I'm just gritting my teeth, trying to find a way to get into maybe 2nd or 3rd place. The key matchups are going to be with the other 2 players, AA Walrus and Reckless Faith. I did beat the 7 health player, Reckless Faith, the last time I saw them. I'm positioning for AA Walrus right now. I'm trying to make sure I'm jumping on their carries. And look, here's where positioning really matters. Where is Talon jumping? Well, he's going to jump right on top of Kalista, who's the carry in this comp, and going to pop the Kalista. And that's so important to kill that 3-star Kalista at the start of the fight. Gallia is going to pop the Guardian Angel on Talon, but again, this is why I prioritize Guardian Angel. It's a really important item on Talon. So he does, just barely survive. And we managed to win that fight and knock that person down to 2 HP as Dog-like TFT knocks out the other player right there. But again, positioning super duper important. That team comp was almost certainly stronger than me, but I do manage to win that one just because I jumped on the 3-star Kalista. If I don't kill the 3-star Kalista right at the start of the fight, I definitely am not going to win that one. And now I'm hoping that I'm going to be matched up with this other player, AA Walrus. I'm going to position for that player because I know I can't beat Dog-like TFT. I might as well position for the player that I can beat and that I have some chance of winning against. By the way, I took a Janna there because I was like, maybe I can get the 3-star Janna. It's the only thing that can matter. There was no Swain on the carousel. There wasn't any item that super mattered. So now that I know that I'm not hitting the Janna, I'm going to try to hit the 2-star Swain. I don't hit that either, and it's like, that's sad. I had 8 Jannas so early and just couldn't get the last Janna. But here I'm again going to look to position to hit this other player, AA Walrus. That's the one I'm interested in. They have their carry on the left-hand side. But it turns out I'm going to get a ghost round with the player that I can't beat. But the good news is AA Walrus is hitting that other unbeatable player in the non-ghost round. So even if I lose this round, if I can just avoid taking less, if I can just take less damage, then even though we'll both get knocked out, this will be a second place finish. So I go down to -8, but the other player who is at less health goes down to -14, and aha, it's a second place finish. I'll take it against that unbeatable comp that was in first place. So like I said, this was, I'm going to type this, what that was some team. So like I said, this was a scramble game. This was a game where I was low on health. I had to roll so much gold to find Talon, really had bad luck there. But I was happy with what I was able to put together and, grit out a second place finish in this one. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for joining me for this game, Willow. Until next time, I hope you guys are doing well, having a great week, and I'll see you again soon.